Howdy! Michael, Mercedes guy here on this beautiful day in the Northwest, and we're going to be putting a manual fuel pump on a 280 twin cam engine. This happens to be a Roadster that I made out of a coupe, and if you want to know more about it, there's a link to how I made it by taking the top off and the paint and so on. So we're going to have to remove a lot of items here because that pump is buried down in there. You can't hardly even see it. So we're going to pull the air cleaner, and it's a good idea to remove your vacuum line because it's a bit fragile by now. You don't want to be cracking it. We're going to remove this hose that's in our way that goes to your emission control carbon canister. Remove some fuel lines that go to the carburetor. You want to remove your spark plug coil wire and a few vacuum lines down in there. When you remove vacuum lines, it's a good idea to mark them and or take photos so you know exactly where they go back to. Okay, these huge air cleaners, there's one thumb nut here and also a thumb nut back here. Okay, we've got our air cleaner off, and I've already loosened up a bunch of fittings here to get a bunch of this stuff out of our way. You kind of tuck it in to where it's out of our way. I want to pull off that vacuum line, and I've already got these ready to come off. Now this particular pressure valve, very fragile, so you want to be very careful when you're dealing with it. And I've already made notations on paper of where the various vacuum lines go. And note that when you're pulling, it makes it tight. So you want to actually push the hose off, and it'll come right off. All right, we got a few of these items off. We had to take a break. I had a customer come in. So, again, make note of where these vacuum lines go before you take them off. And so I could tag them, but instead I've written them down on a piece of paper. So, actually, we got enough stuff now I can pull these up out of the way, and there's nothing like tie wire. Okay. Now I can actually see the fuel pump down in there, so we're getting close. And okay, there's room enough for my arm, and I'll disconnect the fuel lines once I get it up closer, up higher. So that's a 13. Okay, this is a handy tool here, air-driven ratchet, and also a 3/8 drive universal joint. that will make life a bit easier, because with just a regular ratchet down in there, it only is a couple of clicks each direction, so it would take quite a while, whereas this is spin it off pretty fast. Let's make sure which direction we got going. Yep. There we go. Okay, I've got the pump out, and which makes it a lot easier to get the other hose off here. And then you want to use a new gasket. When you put your pump back in, notice I've covered the carburetor. Whenever you're working in here with the air cleaner off, a rag over this. You can never tell what might go into orbit and come back, like a washer that would drop down in there. And it also, so back to the pump, you take your fuel lines off up here closer than when the pump is buried down there. And it makes it easier to put the fuel lines on in this position as well.